welcome back to Jody Journals. Today I am going to be setting up for my June journaling spread, and I busted out the old school watercolors this time around. I do have my regular palette there and then the metallic palette as well, and I just have a cup with water and a small round brush, and I'm going to be doing a mountain theme. I've already penciled out the lines of where I want everything, and I've already decided on my color palette, which is going to be this golden orange color, a deep blue color, a deep purple color, and a deep green color. And I'm also going to be using the metallic copper color for the sun and the brush lettering. As far as technique goes for the watercolors, I'm using a wet on wet technique where I wet the paper first with clean water and then sort of dab the watercolor into the area that's already wet. This is going to give it a very dimensional look, a very swirly look. And another thing to keep in mind is this journal has 80 GSM paper, so it's not as thick as like an Archer and Olive journal. So the papers in my journal are going to wrinkle up as I get more and more water on them. So it's going to be a very textured look, which is why I went for mountains, because I know how thinner paper reacts to very wet paint. In and adding another layer of color on. I didn't make the pigment strong enough in the colors, so I'm going back in and adding more layers and sort of imagining where the shadows of the mountains would be and adding a little more color there and leaving some gaps with lighter color so that the mountains look more dimensional. Now I am filling in the next page. I'm going to be outlining where the monthly calendar is going to go. That way I don't have to write over dark paint. And after everything dries down, I'm going to come back in with my handy dandy Tombow dual brush in the black. And I'm going to trace out the monthly calendar and add in all of the numbers for the month. And I'm going to employ a similar technique through the weeks. I'm going to be painting around where I'm writing the days. also taking my time and letting it dry down completely between layers of paint and of course before turning the page. I don't want to overwork the paint on the paper as it's very wet, and what ends up happening to paper that isn't specially made for very wet paints is it can end up pilling. So I'm trying not to work the paint too much on the paper at a time, and if I want to add more pigment, I layer on another layer after the first layer has fully dried down. That way I'm not distressing the paper with moving the brush over it while it's wet. So brush lettering is the style that I'm using here to write the month June, and how you do it with a paintbrush is you lighten up on all of the upstrokes and you use just the tip of the brush on all the upstrokes, and then on all of the downstrokes you press down so that the line thickens up, and that's how you get the script look when you're painting letters. I'm also using that same metallic copper paint to fill in the sun and add a little more pizzazz. And here I am with the Tombow dual brush, and I'm going to outline the calendar portion and of course add in all of the horizontal and vertical lines to create each day of the week. Moving right along to the first weekly spread, I'm going to be doing 1 week per page and 5 weeks for the month of June. And I am keeping with the mountain theme. I've already sketched out, like I said, where all the elements are going to be. I do like to have my mini calendar in the corner, so you'll see me have a mini rectangle in every corner for the calendar. And then I'm going to be leaving little blobs of white along the page, through and around and under the mountains, so that I can write down whatever is happening that day for my dailies. sticking with the same mountain theme and the same color palette, same setup for my weeklies. I chose this mountain theme because it's not particularly difficult to paint, and I haven't gotten out my watercolors in a really long time, so I'm just trying to get a feel for them again. And the last time I used watercolors was back in April when I painted that card for a friend of mine. There is a video and it's called Paint With Me. If you want to learn how to paint some flowers, you can definitely check that video out. But for my journal, I wanted color. I had done a very minimal spread for May just because I was struggling and I needed to get something in there so I could organize my life. But for June, I wanted some more color and just to welcome the warm weather, and it's later longer, so I end up in a much better mood every day as the days lengthen. But yeah, I just wanted something simple, colorful, and fun, and mountains are a great way to do that because it doesn't really matter how you get the paint on the page, it's gonna look good no matter what. You can start to see where each day of the week is going to go. It's starting to take shape. And I'm just leaving, like I said, little blobs of white page there. And then I'm going to come back in later with my Tombow again and just write the days of the week. I'm also going to be making the mini calendar in the upper right on this spread and rectangling which week it is on the mini calendar so that I know when and where I am. And the finishing touch is going to be painting in the sun with that copper metallic paint and of course writing June in one of the pages just to remind me what month it is. And then I'm not going to torture you guys with watching me paint this spread, 3 more times. So I'm going to just show you progress with each layer of color. So on to the final flip through for the month, and I hope you enjoyed watching me do some watercolor painting for the month of June, and I hope you got some ideas of how to do some simple colorful spreads in your journal if you're a bullet journaler, or if you're a beginner painter wanting some easy ways to practice moving color across paper. Also a great technique to practice. So enjoy the final flip through, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye!